Hamilton hopes to ignite the Bulldogs on a stretch run that will result in an invite to 1998 national champs in football. And the Lady Vols basketball team has won 6 NCAA titles. Now, third-year head coach Jerry Green has the men's basketball team try to join the parade of champions. The Vols are ranked 6th in the nation, their highest in 30 years, and are challenging for SEC supremacy and a serious run down the road to the Final Four. 4 years ago, Mississippi State celebrated its only Final Four appearance. It's a Sunday matinee in the SEC. 6th-ranked Tennessee on the road to take on Mississippi State. Welcome inside the Humphrey Coliseum. Craig Bolerjack with Clark Kellogg. Hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon. Clark, Tennessee, 18-3, their best start since the 1941-42 campaign. And boy, they love to shoot the three.
They really do, Craig. They lead the SEC in three-point field goal percentage at 38. And their two primary weapons are Tony Harris and Vincent Yarbrough. And Harris, one of the top 3 three-point shooters in the league. And Vincent Yarbrough, maybe one of the hottest players in the league. Player of the week along with Stromile Swift last week. There you see his numbers over his last 4 games.
You talk about Mississippi State. They're a very young squad, a very talented squad. 5 freshmen. Clark, they've grown up fast.
They really have grown up fast. They've been very good at the defensive end of the floor, but they've got to get shots to go down. The key guy to make that happen, I think, is Antonio Jackson. He has to have a good game shooting the basketball.
All right, stay tuned. 6th-ranked Tennessee taking on Mississippi State. The East against the West in the SEC.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Merrill Lynch. Be quick, be smart, be bullish.
Bill, Mississippi, Humphrey Coliseum. Jerry Green, head coach at Tennessee. 3rd season. And he's done marvelous things for the Volunteers. Eyeing the NCAA tournament once again. His front court includes Yarbrough, C.J. Black, and Isaiah Victor in the backcourt. Keep your eye on Tony Harris, likes to shoot the three, along with John Higgins, the freshman, a 6'3" guard. And for Mississippi State, they're 12-8 under second-year head coach Rick Stansbury. 31-22 during his stay here so far. Up front, Hamilton, Robert Jackson, and Michael Goller. And his backcourt, Todd Miles and Antonio Jackson. Mississippi State defeated LSU on this court back Wednesday night by 2, snapping a 2-game skid, Clark. They rallied from 11 points down in the last 6 minutes. Tennessee coming off a loss to Kentucky and Lexington Tuesday night. As you look at today's officials, Rusty Herring, Tom Lopes, and Kerry Sitton.
Well, in that game against LSU, Mississippi State got excellent play from Tang Hamilton down the stretch, and they're going to need him to be aggressively looking to take the ball inside today.
Tennessee 18-3, 6-2 in the SEC East. And you look at this series, Tennessee, Clark, 66-36. Mississippi State leads by a slight margin here at the Humphrey Coliseum.
Well, Mississippi State got them in both games last year and also knocked them off in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, the quarterfinals, 62-56, and we're underway. Controlled by Tennessee. Tony Harris pulls it down, gives it off to John Higgins, the freshman out of Shaker Heights, Ohio. We talked to Jerry Green, Clark. He said patience a key in this game today. This team likes to run the floor. They like to shoot the three. And he says, we can just be patient and look for the shot. We should do very well on the road.
Swing the ball and try to take it inside a little bit. And there you see Vincent Yarbrough doing just that. He's really improved his strength from last year. Look at his upper body. You see a lot more definition. He's got tremendous range on his shot. And he also showed you there the ability to put it on the floor and get into the paint.
Yarbrough out of Cleveland, Tennessee. As you mentioned, Clark, the SEC Co-Player of the Week. 24.5 points, 9 boards against Auburn and South Carolina. The foul was charged to Goller, his first, and Yarbrough misses the front end. He'll get another.
This Tennessee team has everything you want. They've got what I call a full pantry: size, agility, perimeter shooting, post-up ability, transition game, three-point shooting game. If there is an Achilles heel, it might be the free throw shooting. They're in the mid-60s as a team from the line.
So Jerry Green just opens up the cabinet and pulls out,
that's right,
whatever cup and plate he wants.
It's a good cabinet to look into.
Yarborough makes a second. Tennessee with a early 1-0 lead. Todd Miles across midcourt.
Both teams are primarily man-to-man defensive teams, although they will on occasion to change pace throw another defensive wrinkle at you as Miles travels.
Miles trying to push it inside to Robert Jackson as we take a look at the Merrill Lynch keys of the game. And Clark, you talk about Tennessee patience and ball movement on offense, transition on D. Mississippi State, the Bulldogs.
They need to make sure that Antonio Jackson gets high-quality shots, and he's got to knock them down from the perimeter. And then Robert Jackson, who does yeoman's work inside, can't afford to get into foul trouble. The front line of Mississippi State depleted by the absence of Tyrus Boswell. He's out with an injury, so Jackson has to be able to play big minutes today.
Good man-to-man by Jackson causes the Tennessee turnover. We played a minute. Mississippi State still looking for their first points. Inside Jackson, baseline, bounces it and in.
That's what he can do, Craig. He knows how to use his body. He doesn't elevate very high, but he's got strong hands and he's got good moves down in the low post.
Leaner than he was a year ago, and that means quickness. Off the board, Victor turnaround, slams it down. Isaiah Victor.
They average 15 offensive caroms a game, and that's another area Mississippi State has to handle. Defensive rebound if you force Tennessee into tough outside shots.
Second turnover equals another bucket. Harris throws it down. A little soft 6-footer for Tony Harris, who averages 14 a game.
Well, I like what Tennessee is doing here. Pressing, putting some pressure on, trying to force Mississippi State to get a little flustered and rattled. It's like playing cards. There's a card game called spades, and when you have a bunch of spades, it's best to just play them.
Right.
It's the same way here. When you've got the kind of quality, depth, and quickness and size that Tennessee has, there's no reason for you to ever sit on the throttle unless you need to be patient offensively. But you should try to go full throttle defensively, and that's what they're doing here in the early going.
Back-to-back turnovers by Mississippi State. Over to Harris with 17 on the shot clock. Tennessee by 3. Up top, Black. Good patience by the Vols. Victor now drives. A little bump, no call. Harris on the floor. 6 on the shot. Black puts up the jumper. Boy, look at the rebound. Crashing the board was
allowed Victor to get inside and get that board. He's active. They've got to find a body to get between him and the ball after they play such good defense.
Miles a bit out of control, trying to work it through the seam. Knocked out of bounds by the Vols. 27 on the shot clock.
That's not the kind of ratio you want for field goals made and turnovers.
Quickly inside. Jackson having his way. A couple of quick buckets. The sophomore out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Clark, the big fella, is the only Wisconsin native to ever play for Mississippi State.
He's a good one, too.
Yarborough. Right hand, little strong. Hamilton climbs up the ladder, rebound. Starts the break.
Nice job transitioning defensively by Tennessee. Because Mississippi State, when they can cleanly rebound, they'll look to push it ahead.
Jackson working the left hand on the dribble up to Miles. Playing with a hairline fracture in that right wrist he suffered about 2 months ago. And again, Jackson working tough and goal in the follow. You know, he started the last 7 games after an injury to Markel Patterson. Patterson wants some minutes, but you can't take this guy off the floor.
He's a warrior. He's undersized. He's going to play some at the big forward spot today, but he's got good athleticism, and he's tenacious in his effort.
Little follow-away push. Victor, nice soft touch. Victor with his second bucket, 4 points out of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Well, last 6 games, Victor's been on fire. How about 66%? It was shots like. The inbound goes out to Miles. Boy, Tennessee tenacious defensively. Free ball goes down. Oh, Jackson.
Are they glad to see them here in the hump? Antonio Jackson has really struggled shooting the basketball.
Clark, last 11 games, 30% from the floor.
I just took a look at his last 3, and he was 6 for 25, including 3 of 16.
My first bus was a little 29-passenger bus. Of all the buses I ever owned, it's the one bus I wish I could.
Pro-Am on CBS. Beauty and the Beast.
Well, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State leading Tennessee by 2. With the conclusion of today's game, we will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the
See a good start shooting by both teams. Mississippi State probably can't keep up that pace, but they need to knock down some perimeter shots because by and large, they're giving so much energy defensively, Craig. You need to make shots to kind of fuel that fire. It's kind of like adding a little extra wood to the fire when you make shots. And there's Robert Jackson doing everything he wants to down low.
3 buckets, 6 points. They're able to break the press, come up floor, and then the baseline wide open. 3-point shot down, drained it is Tony Harris. And Clark, this Tennessee team likes to put it up. They average 22 3-point attempts a game. Jackson working hard on the offensive end. Tip try wouldn't go. Still working hard.
Big fella.
8 points, looking at 9. Robert Jackson working tough underneath. 14-10 Mississippi State. You know, it's amazing. You drop a few pounds, you elevate.
That is a great point, Craig. That's one of the greatest benefits of putting in the time and work to improve your body and your game, is because it gives you added confidence that, hey, I put in all this work. There's no way I can't be better. And that kind of feeds on itself.
Yarbrough stuck in the corner. Hathaway has checked in for Tennessee. Inside, Victor left alone. Jackson a little slow coming over on help defense. And Victor now with 3 buckets, 6 points. Well, Tennessee, though, every time up the court, challenging Mississippi State. Zimmerman had a big game a couple of nights ago, going hard to the hole.
Tennessee blocked 6 shots a game, and you see why. Victor is an excellent shot blocker, as is Hathaway and C.J. Black. Good drive by the freshman Zimmerman, but too many orange shirts around the goal.
Baseline jumper strong. Yarbrough goes up for the rebound for Tennessee. Says, hey, I'll take it up.
Tennessee doing a nice job against some pretty good half-court pressure D by Mississippi State. They're moving the ball from side to side and looking to go inside with Isaiah Victor. Here you see what Tennessee does in the league defensively. Outstanding numbers, field goal percentage defense. They lead the conference and block shots and Here you take a look at the defense on the low post. They double it, then close out strong and on balance to the shooter. Good job there by Tony Harris. And as a result of that good defense inside and outside, the shot clock violation.
Harris Walker running the point right now for Tennessee, number 5. Freshman out of Chattanooga. Harris to Yarbrough. Victor had a shot at the rebound, picked up by Mississippi State. And Miles pushing the tempo. 3-point ball. Too strong. Jackson there to save it. Bodies on the deck. Doing some dusting down there in the corner. Mississippi State basketball. The headband, the sweatband on.
Well, sometimes you can't miss him because of what he does when he comes into the game. He makes an impact. Aggressive and carefree in his style. He's the ideal kind of guy for coming off the bench because he's versatile and his temperament is such that he's able to make an immediate
convertible, a red one,
inside. But they have gotten a good look at the 3-point shot. As you take a look at Tony Harris coming off the nice screen by C.J. Black and knocking down the 3.
And Clark Harris, number 2 in the SEC at 43.4%. Say, as a team, Tennessee leads the conference in 3-point percentage at 37.5. They attempt 22 a game, and they're averaging 8.5 made per game.
But so far today, what's gotten them the lead is their ability to throw it inside to Isaiah Victor. They've got some matchup advantages inside, so they've tempered looking at the 3 for the sake of exploiting their advantage inside.
Todd Miles had a good look and knocked it down. That breaks an 0 for 5 string from the floor for Mississippi State. Tiger, will he make a push? Tune in.
He's got a long way
Long
to push.
way to go.
He's 8 back at this point.
And because of that tough weather, and you never know what to expect. And that will begin at 4 o'clock Eastern. Markel Patterson picks up the foul. Fourteen fouls against Mississippi State, 3 on Tennessee. Hathaway working strong. Back to the backboard, rolled off. Slay rebound. Got it. Ron Slay.
They just kept it alive.
You know, he calls himself a finesse player, but says, I can play down low. You bet. Miles high off the window. Boy, a couple of buckets here quickly for Todd Miles out of Brooklyn, New York. The only senior.
Keeps it alive, and Slay able to put it away.
Higgins, number 42, coming back in for Tennessee.
Both teams play 9 to 10 guys. The quality of the depth may be a little better at Tennessee, but again, Mississippi State has got an excellent effort, especially at the defensive end from this club.
Mississippi State pushing. Miles inside. Jackson. No whistle. Slay with the rebound. Clears it. Higgins pushing the tempo. Lobs it. And up on the ladder is Zimmerman. 3 on 2. Fancy pass. He was looking for the trailer. And Markel Patterson broke to the lane. And
When you drive the ball in the paint, look to score. And if you can't, then you drop it off. Good feed there by Miles. Jackson just unable to make a tough shot. And then on the following possession, Zimmerman penetrated, thinking pass. My motto is when you get into the paint, you need to be thinking about putting the ball in the hole, and the pressure was going to be a big factor for them defensively. And that's been good, and they've wanted to front the post, which they haven't done as well.
Slay draws the foul as he takes it hard down the lane. You look at the Eastern Division in the SEC. Kentucky at 7-1, Tennessee 6-2, Florida right there at 6-2 in conference play, followed by Vanderbilt, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Kentucky has won 7 straight and 10 of their last 11. And I really don't know if there's anybody in the country playing any better than Kentucky right now.
Slay is 78% shooter from the line.
He's their best percentage-wise.
3-point.
Depending on what happens over the next few weeks, you know, you've got that kind of scenario playing itself out in a number of conferences, Craig, as we move towards the road to the Final Four. And what happens these next few weeks is going to determine an awful lot about which teams move off the bubble and which teams find themselves on the bubble.
Ron Slay, 4 points. He breaks the 18-all tie. You talk about that top 25. And this is by conference. SEC was 6.
Very strong and balanced league for the most part.
ACC surprise, only 2. Mississippi State gets the 3. Billups, TJ Billups. Instant offense out of Jackson, Mississippi. Saved. Slapped away from behind. Starts the break. Jackson.
Boy, Jackson should have went to the middle of the floor. He had a guy running the right lane, and he impeded his progress and ended up putting himself in a position where he didn't have a fast break opportunity. Billups is the guy shaking up. He made the save on the excellent hustle to get back. Here it is.
Injuries been a problem this season for Mississippi State. Quentin Smith, Big Q, Miles, Patterson, Jackson.
And then Tyrus Boswell is out today.
Migraines.
Exactly.
So they've had all kinds of nicks and bumps, yet they've still been able to piece together good efforts defensively. And so far today, Craig, they've knocked down a couple of timely 3-point shots.
Now you talked about bubble teams at 12-8 with half the SEC scheduled to go. As Miles sweetly knocks down to 3. Is this a bubble team?
At this point, I mean, I'd rather say they're on the stoop as opposed to the bubble, but clearly there's not. We've got too much time to really start putting teams because there's 6, 7, 8 games left. I think by the middle of this month, and obviously at the end of the month, you'll really have what I would call legitimate teams that are on the stoop and others that are actually playing themselves into the tournament by then.
Boy, Mississippi State pushing it up on defense. Another three-pointer on the road. Patterson nails it. Markel Patterson. 26-19 Bulldogs by 7. Higgins, soft touch, wouldn't go. Slay working hard. Offensive end, shot no. Tip. And it went down. Giving him to Black. First bucket for C.J. Black. He doesn't take a lot of shots. He likes to hang around on the offensive end. Coming up on the 7-minute mark of the first half. Miles sees a lane, take this up and in. Too easy. Tennessee standing on defense.
You called it.
9 points.
You called it. They escorted him to the bucket. Nobody stepped in to stop the ball, and Miles having a breakout game here today.
And Slay, who just converted on back-to-back free throws at the line again. Cuts that lead down to 6-5 for Slay. He is the Volunteers' 6th man, averaging 15 minutes a game for Jerry Green. He's the emotion guy too, Clark.
He certainly is.
So this guy's a crack up, a cut up, keeps his team loose. 6 for Slay and a timeout. We'll be back. 7:06 remaining in the first half here in Starkville. 28-23 Mississippi State over 6th-ranked Tennessee. Craig Bolerjack and Clark Kellogg. You look at some numbers. 13-8 rebounding margin. Mississippi State with that in their favor. Clark, though, the surprising factor, Tennessee comes in with 22 three-point attempts. They make 8+ a game, but it's Mississippi State knocking the 3-ball down.
They've made 4 of their 12 field goals from behind the line. They're shooting a high percentage overall. They're doing a decent job on the boards. Tennessee kind of hanging around because they have gotten some second chance points. But by and large, what you see here is an execution of a game plan established by Mississippi State playing itself out in good fashion right now. And Tennessee, excuse me, Craig, but Tennessee now showing you a little zone, trying to disrupt the rhythm that Mississippi State has found, trying to cut off that penetration by Miles. But Tennessee, recognizing the advantage inside, has gone to Victor, and he's going to get a breakaway here.
Little showtime. Victor with the one hand. That's 11, double digits. First player on either side to reach double digits. 11 points for Isaiah Victor.
Well, right away, the change in defense produces some points for Tennessee.
Jackson, 3-shot wouldn't go. Rebound by Tennessee, pushing the tempo. Harris, Higgins, he wants the 3, drains it, and that quickly, it's a 5-point swing.
Doesn't take long. A steal, and then a rebound and a push ahead, and you've got 5 quick points.
Tied at 28, 6:16 to go, first half.
When I told him we were sharing him.
In the transition offense, the ball is circled in the middle. We get that lane field. That's Higgins on the left, Victor on the right. Now look at the push ahead, 3-on-2, and then Higgins just spots up because defenders have gone to the paint. But it started with defense and then getting the lanes filled immediately. And Tony Harris did a nice job going to the middle and then flaring to the left and getting Higgins a nice look at the 3-point shot.
Tennessee now 2 of 3 from behind the 3-point line. Mississippi State 3 of 7. Inside Jackson.
Boy, they haven't found an answer for him.
He's got 11.
And Mississippi State has had a tough time dealing with Isaiah Victor in the post.
Black, nice little jump hook with the left hand. Yarbrough with the offensive board. The tip, Black. And Yarbrough pulls it down.
Boy, I tell you what, you just can't continue to survive if teams are going to get extra opportunities on the glass. I know Tennessee is one of the best in the country in offensive rebounding, but if Mississippi State is going to continue to have a chance to win this game, they've got to do a better job on the offensive board.
Turnover
defensive board, rather.
Mississippi State. The ball here in Starkville. That was Yarbrough, first bucket. Block. Guess who's working both ends? Robert Jackson. Golder backs it up. Here comes Miles under 5 minutes remaining in the half. On the shot. Zimmerman, one-on-one. Three-pointer on its way in and out. Golder had it and then lost it. Higgins. Three-pointer. Too strong. Yarbrough working. Takes steps, turnover.
Syracuse, in my mind, the number two team in the country behind Cincinnati. They've been outstanding in putting together that 19-game winning streak. They've got seniors, 3 seniors starting, excellent depth, tremendous perimeter shooting. Much like Tennessee, they have a lot of the elements you'd like to have on any basketball team.
Boy, what a shot. Falling back is Patterson. Markell, a little spark off the bench, hitting the three and also working inside on the follow-away. Out of Eupora, Mississippi. He's had the ankle sprain, missed a couple of games back in early January. Harris, floater. Loose ball picked up, Mississippi State. Patterson. Blocking foul. Timeout, Mississippi State by 4. I've never heard of an interim mascot. Look at the numbers. Tennessee 39%, while Mississippi State 54%. Kind of a up and down hill for the Bulldogs. They made 5 of their first 6 and 1 of their next 9, and they've hit 8 of their last 11.
And they've changed to a zone defense for the first time, and Rick Stansbury told us he might do that out of a timeout to try to change the rhythm and pace, but they allowed Walker to penetrate inside, which is what you want to do against the zone. Find the seams and try to crack in there with dribble or pass penetration and get a good shot.
Harris Walker, his first bucket. Freshman out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Cuts Mississippi State's lead down to 2.
Tennessee also showing a little zone here.
Nice movement. Jackson. Tip try. No, he's working on the offensive boards. And a whistle.
On second shot opportunities, 5 of his rebounds are on the offensive glass. 5 of the 6 are offensive boards. I think he got 3 of them on one trip.
Yeah, he did.
When he got the 3-point play earlier in the game.
3-point lead for the Bulldogs. Nice pass inside the follow. Yarbrough missed it, but right there to push it back in. C.J. Black, his second bucket, 4 points.
Well, I tell you what, Tennessee is as close as they are because of the work they've done on the offensive glass. Mississippi State may have the same number of offensive rebounds, but they don't have the points off the offensive rebounds that Tennessee has.
Phillips feeds Jackson on that pivot foot. Lost it out of bounds. Mississippi State basketball with 15 on the shot clock.
How do you get to the offensive glass? Well, you've got to be tenacious and attack it, but anytime you can get penetration that breaks down the defense, that creates some additional lanes to the offensive board as C.J. Black got that follow-up. Tennessee has 10 offensive rebounds, and as I said, Michigan State has 9, but the points off those in favor of Tennessee.
Hey, stick around at the half. The Pennzoil at the half. Tim Brando will get you caught up in scores and highlights. Pebble Beach preview, and how about the Orange Crush? Oh, Jimmy Boeheim doing a great job. 19-0, only unbeaten team.
Oh, he's been doing a great job for a long time. For a very long time. And Timmy B kind of told me about Robert Jackson. He said, Clark, you'll like the big fella because he can do some damage inside. And Timmy B, you were all over it. I do like his work.
Did he call you or did you call him?
I made sure he called me now.
Harris was 6. He's been in double figures 5 straight. You look at Tony Harris, 6-footer, 165 pounds. Second shot rims out.
Little lower body root canal, I think, on
Good way to put it.
Michael Goler, trying to root C.J. Black out of there. And we talked about it earlier, how Goler is a warrior, but he's giving up an awful lot of size to whoever he matches up with along the Tennessee front line. And C.J. goes about 6'8", 260-ish.
5 points for Black. He'll get another. That's 3 on Goler.
There you see it right there. Actually, Jackson was pushing up top, and Goler was rooting him out down low.
6 for Black. Zimmerman working it around to Miles.
Mississippi State has to be careful here. They've played pretty well, Craig, and they don't want to allow Tennessee to spurt away here.
With the 3 fouls. Miles, who's an 80% free throw shooter, misses the first, makes the second. He's got 10. Tennessee by 1. Victor coming right back. Long ball wouldn't go. Loose ball picked up. Here comes Miles. And smartly resets.
Good call.
From the corner.
Maybe a little quick by Billups there.
Walker. Oh, Victor. The no look.
Wow. Isaiah Victor having some kind of half. How about the elevation and extension on that throwdown? That young fella must have yeast in his shoes.
He's on
rising like that.
Coming up on a minute left in the half. 17 on the shot clock for Mississippi State. Miles takes a glance over to his head coach, Rick Stansbury. Miles, that ball blocked.
Danger zone here for Mississippi State.
Tennessee pushing.
They've done a nice job on Harris, but in this kind of situation, sensing the momentum is changing, don't be surprised if Harris looks at a 3. Instead, it's Hayslip.
Hayslip off the bench. Marcus Hayslip, a freshman from Lewisburg, Tennessee. And all of a sudden, momentum and a big shift in a big hurry by Tennessee.
That's what they can do because they have multiple weapons. They hurt you inside in transition, on the 3, on the glass.
One more time, and Clark, impressive as you look at Isaiah Victor from Walker, the no look.
Reaching and rising to the rack, Isaiah Victor.
Well, time now for Applebee's tournament favorite right now. 19
being the key guys on that 96 team that got to the Final Four.
Jackson tied up, turned it over.
Just what Mississippi State didn't want to happen has happened the last 2 minutes. They've stagnated offensively as Jackson didn't quite know where he was and ended up turning it over.
Over the last 3:23, 11-2.
Very impressive because they've done it in a number of ways. Inside on the glass, transition. Now they're going to look for the last shot, and at worst, hope to go into the locker room up by 5 and with an awful lot of momentum at halftime.
Walker working it down under 4. Short on the shot. Mississippi State can't get it away. And that's going to end the first 20 minutes here in Starkville. Mississippi State had the nice run early, but Tennessee has battled back. 41-36, 6th-ranked Tennessee. Tim Brando will be along with Pennzoil at the half right after this message and a word from your local station.
Greetings, all you stat sheet stuffers. Welcome back to our New York studios and Pennzoil at the half. Our score in Starkville. Mississippi State trails Tennessee by 5, but as I told Clark Kellogg, Robert Jackson, 11 points and 5 boards, keeping the Bulldogs in it. Elsewhere, the Hoops universe at this hour, plenty to...
Father journeys south of the border to find his missed. Victor led the way with 13 points in that first 20 minutes. And the Volunteers on the road leading Mississippi State 41-36. And we'll be back.
Of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by the United States Marine Corps.
Second half here in Starkville. 6th-ranked Tennessee on top of Mississippi State 41-36. Welcome back. Craig Bolerjack with Clark Kellogg. What surprised you in the first 20 minutes? Mississippi State got some big play from Jackson, but then Tennessee found that spark in the last 3 minutes.
They really did. They can hurt you with so many different weapons. Mississippi State, I thought, played a pretty good first half. Shot it well. They contained Yarbrough and Harris. but they got hurt inside by Victor and on the offensive glass by a number of Tennessee Vols. And I would think their psyche has to be a little bit vulnerable here because they played a good half and yet they're still down by 5, in part because of some late turnovers in the last 2 minutes of the half.
Jackson comes off the screen, and Robert Jackson pulls down the board, makes his move to the lane. Nice shot, staying with it. Robert Jackson had a dozen in the first 20 with 6 boards, and now 14 for the sophomore out of Milwaukee. Well, that maybe helped the psyche that you were talking about.
These next couple of possessions will be very important for Mississippi State to try to get off to a good start, to lift their spirits, but also to get the home court crowd involved, which for a period there.
Quiet early.
Yeah, quiet early, then they got it going when they had a little run, and then quiet at the end of the half.
Good patience by Tennessee. Long three-pointer, didn't hit. 3-point shots, not plenty for Tennessee. Mississippi State.
That's a big deal there.
Out-rebounding them by 1.
Exactly, and then the 11-2 run at the end of the half.
3-point play. So the junior out of Jackson, Mississippi, who played in Japan last summer with the SEC All-Stars and said, hey, I got my confidence this season on the board. But they break down defensively, and an easy bucket for Tony Harris.
Well, when you talk to the coaching staff of Mississippi State, one of the things they want Tang Hamilton to do is take the responsibility of stepping up and being the go-to guy in critical portions of a game. He did that in the win against LSU. 12 of his 17 came in the second half, and they were all big buckets. And he needs to look to do that same kind of thing right now on cue.
Tang fills it up. Back-to-back buckets, 5 points. We're tied at 43. Yarbrough feeds inside. Victor. Nice little soft touch. Pushing back. He was moving in on Hamilton. And Victor now with 15 after having a 13-point first half.
You asking me what surprised me in the first half? Not a whole lot, but I'm sure Rick Stansbury is a little surprised at how Tennessee is persisting to look to throw the ball inside. Because in their shoot-around yesterday, they really felt it. And Jackson is the kind of guy, because of his size and light-footedness in the paint, that could draw fouls on you.
Higgins gives it up to Harris. Wants the 3, in and out. Offensive board, though, stepped out of bounds was Victor.
Boy, Isaiah Victor really attacks that glass. He's long and lean and very quick. And if you don't find him right away, you won't find him, because he's already gone.
Clark, how many times did Jerry Green just kind of mention, and what a great gentleman Jerry Green is, to say, you know what, I've got to continue to tell these guys, play under control. They've had a lot of success, and he preaches it every day. Stay under control with success and also on the floor.
Yep. And they're starting to get the message. This is a very young team, as is the Mississippi State team. And there are some things, Craig, that only come with time and experience.
Victor working hard on the low block. Yeah, there's a good look at Jerry Green, former assistant under Roy Williams at Kansas, spent 5 years at Oregon.
You see where he's been, UNC Asheville, Kansas as an assistant, Oregon, and now doing a very nice job at Tennessee.
Hamilton picks up his 3rd. Yarbrough spots up, good look, drains it, 3-pointer. He's been quiet, Clark. Hey. Only his 2nd bucket, 6 points. Had 6 rebounds, however, working it on the other side in the first half.
Guys like him, Vincent Yarbrough, because of his versatility offensively, they can be quiet for 25, 28,
yeah.
30, 32 minutes, and then put double digits on you in 4 possessions. So he's a guy that can put up numbers in a hurry.
Hamilton gave it up to Goler. Back to Hamilton with 9 on the shot. Goler, baseline drive. Looking down low in the paint. Got it. Jackson. Robert Jackson, 17. You know, he had a huge game against LSU on Wednesday night here with 14, all in the second half, and he just continues to work on his offensive game.
Nice job here as Mississippi State works into the shot clock. Dribble drive to the baseline. draws 2 defenders, then the sweet bounce pass to Robert Jackson. Then you just see the evidence of the good hands by Jackson to get it up and down.
And a timeout. 51-46, 15:59 to go. 146, 6th ranked Tennessee on the road, leading Mississippi State. And the Bulldogs head coach in his 2nd year, Rick Stansbury, and he was an assistant coach here at Mississippi State for 8 seasons under Richard Williams, 40 years young, just before Christmas.
Tennessee now mixing in a zone defense with their man-to-man. This was very effective for a couple of possessions in the first half as it forced
W's.
and still holding out hope that they can put together a nice run to finish off this season and find themselves in the NCAA tournament.
Last touched by Tennessee. 24 on the shot clock.
Well, you just wonder as you look at how this game has unfolded. Mississippi State has had a couple of good segments, but every time you think they've got some momentum, here comes Tennessee. Not a good shot there.
Hamilton missed the 3. Mississippi State gets it right back. They feed inside Jackson. Turnover. The C.J. Black reached in. Higgins pushing the tempo. Slicing and dicing for 2.
Excellent recognition of what was available in that situation by John Higgins. Here's another danger zone for Mississippi State. Tennessee starting to exert themselves a little bit.
Miles, a little push shot, wouldn't go. Victor fights, loose ball, picked up by Tennessee. Again, Higgins across midcourt. Gives it up on the baseline, little reverse shot by Harris. Tony Harris double figures with 10. And that's his 5th straight double-figure game and a timeout. Timeout, Mississippi State. 14:38 to go. Tennessee up.
Moments ago is now a 9-point lead. Higgins in transition. Nice little crossover dribble. Gets all the way to the rack. And then Harris catches it in transition. Here's Miles going to come out off balance. Doesn't close on him. And Harris with that quickness goes right by him. And Tennessee on a 12-3 run over the last 2:33. There you see it. And I was starting to say just a moment ago how Mississippi State has had some good segments in this game where they played well, done what they wanted to do within their game plan, and yet Tennessee continues to come back and come back. And now they've pushed their lead to the largest that it's been. How will Mississippi State respond? They've got to find somebody to come up with some baskets here to stop this momentum. Otherwise, they're in danger of this thing getting out of hand.
Well, they know about comebacks. They were down 11 Wednesday night against LSU and rallied back in the final minutes to win by 2, 68-66. The shot off the iron. Victor with an open look, gave it up to Walker. Back to Victor baseline. Around Smith. Last touch by the Bulldogs, and the crowd won't like that.
Well, I think it went off of Smith's foot as Victor tried to go baseline. Tennessee's patience has been superb today, Craig. Unlike the game against Kentucky on Tuesday, where they casted a bunch of 3-point.
Hamilton, good look. Tang puts it up. Backside rebound. Patterson in traffic. And Hathaway clears it for Tennessee. Boy, the shots are right there, but Mississippi State can't get it down.
Well, we talked about it in the open. That's been a problem, knocking down perimeter shots consistently.
Turnover. Patterson, 2-on-2, gives it back. Hamilton. And a whistle. Well, right now, just exchange of possessions. Going back and forth on
another
turnovers.
turnover. Yep.
And ones that Mississippi State cannot afford to lose. 55-46, Tennessee.
Well, when you're battling a team as talented and as deep as Tennessee is, then you've got to match. Bulldogs went on a 5-0 run to tie it up at 41. And since then, things have been on a slippery slope south.
Hamilton puts it on the floor, jumps it up, soft touch, rattles in, hangs on the back of the iron and falls down. Well, that's to the hard way.
And he's got to be the guy to do it. When you're your team's leading scorer and their best player, then it's incumbent upon you when your team is struggling to try to make some things happen.
Hathaway feeds Slay. Little jump hook. Oh, what a shot. You cannot stop that. Ron Slay, 6 in the first half. 8 points now in this game. Freshman. And he was Virginia's Prep Player of the Year. Could do it all. Hamilton on the floor. Fall away. Davis with the backside rebound. Pushing is Harris. 2-on-2. Boy, Tennessee working baseline. Little shot wouldn't go. Slay missed the rebound. Hamilton fighting. Picked up. Mississippi State. Zimmerman across midcourt. Boy, the tempo picking up here. Three-pointer, yeah. Miles hits for the first time this half. He's got a dozen.
Well, when Zimmerman's in the game, he can take over the point guard duties and free up Miles to shake free and look for his own offense.
Ball was kicked, so they'll set the shot clock at 35. 6-point game. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA men's basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Starkville, Mississippi State Clark on a 5-0 run, and it starts on the defensive end.
But we'll call that a bite-sized surge as we take a look at Tang Hamilton getting it started defensively, drawing the offensive foul on Slay, and then at the other end, Hamilton, look at him get it from Mississippi State.
Just under 12 minutes left. That's a lifetime and maybe 2. Tennessee slowing the tempo down a bit. Feed Slay baseline. Little turnaround shot. Oh,
they're going to work inside.
Slay with 10.
And that's where the frustration lies with Mississippi State. They've done a good job on Yarbrough. They've done a good job for the most part on Harris, but they're getting housed inside by Slay, Black on occasion, and Isaiah Victor.
Yarbrough has been held to 6 points. Clark.
He's done a good job defensively and rebounding. But again, it points out to the depth and the versatility of this Tennessee team.
That's that cabinet you were talking about earlier.
That's right,
you can
that pantry.
That pantry, open it up, pick. Nearly thrown away. Miles with 4 on the shot, working around Slay, and he got down. Miles with 14, and then to steal. Zimmerman.
Miles is hurt though. He's grabbing his left side. I don't know if it was an ankle or a hip, but he's limping a little bit.
4-point game. Davis, open 3, drains it. Harris now with 13. (62-55). Vegas Davis actually had that last 3, and Jackson puts it down for Mississippi State. 19 for Robert Jackson. Vegas Davis coming off the bench for Green, kind of snuck in on me.
He snuck in on Mississippi State too.
Turn coming down the court, led just 5, but then you could see something tighten up. 62-57 Tennessee. Harris in the lane, soft shot, rolls out. Jackson rebounds. Boy, he has worked both ends.
Tennessee 75% shooting this half. Mississippi State will take 50% any day of the week.
Golder sets his shot and sinks it. That's only his second bucket at 2 in the first half. 4 points on the game, and all of a sudden, 3-pointer. This crowd at the hump coming alive. Walker working against Zimmerman with the left hand. Put back. Bouncing nose. Slay working on the offensive end and a whistle. Boy, Tennessee relentless on the offensive boards.
We talked about it at the start of this game. Mississippi State needs to get perimeter shots to go down. Michael Golder with a nice look there. But Tennessee continues to pound the paint. Smash mouth basketball here. Slay working and getting himself to the line.
Jackson picks up his second.
Here, a bit of a growl in the background.
What a phenomenal run that kid has had hitting the golf ball. Posting wins. Another offensive rebound for Tennessee.
That ball was blocked on its way up.
Now what happens here, Tennessee feels like they've kind of controlled things, especially this half. The longer Mississippi State hangs around, you wonder about that patience that Tennessee has shown throughout this game. And Robert Jackson just having his way down there.
And he worked around Slay. Jackson with 21. 63-61 Tennessee. Yarbrough quiet offensively. Pulls up for the three. Woke up. 9 points. That's his second three-pointer here in the half. Pressure. Billups breaks it across midcourt.
Trying to front Jackson in the post. If they can get a ball reversal, he could seal and maybe get something. They'll slow it down and set it up.
5-point game. Golder comes up top, working against Slay. On the wing is Jackson.
Here's a guy who's been quiet as well.
Very quiet. Had a three early in the first half, and that's it. Jackson inside.
That is beautiful work. They let the big fella get position, and then he held off nicely on the good ball entry.
23 for Robert Jackson. Harris feeds Slay. Jump hook. It's been deadly.
Yarbrough and Harris, and yet still they found contributions from a number of different people.
You know, Rick Stansbury told us his biggest concern was what you just mentioned, Clark, fatigue. And right there, Tennessee, Victor back to Yarbrough on the steal, and he fights through the seam for the bucket. So Yarbrough, who's been quiet now, though, with 11.
Boy, the zone defense has produced, I want to say, 6 or 7 points for Tennessee off turnovers. They haven't used it a lot, but when they have, it's been effective. Here's another turnover, not quite.
Back the other way, Victor whistle for the foul.
Zone out of the timeout. They trapped the ball a little bit. A careless, long cross-court pass that's telegraphed, and Isaiah Victor leaves it for Yarbrough, and 2 points at the other end.
On the inbound. Golder's shot.
Now he'll watch this one the rest of the way.
Golder, a 47% shooter from the free throw line, misses the pair. 2 big misses.
The margin of error for Mississippi State much slimmer than the one for Tennessee because of guys like this,
Harris,
Yarbrough, and the rest of their crew.
Harris got Billups up in the air and drained it. 2-pointer. Harris now with 15. Down 7, Mississippi State. Golder drives baseline. Slay picks him up. Needs help. Out to Jackson. Jackson tries to. Offensive. Wow. C.J. Black. I'm sure we'll see it again, but boy, he held his own on baseline. The baseline. A little push with that arm by Robert Jackson.
Well, let's take a look at it. There's the elbow. He got the chicken wing in there. That's a good call. He got that right chicken wing in. This is the 5th foul on Victor. Wow, barely grazed him, but he did hit him enough to impact the flight of the ball, and that's what the official called there. But with 4 fouls, maybe you don't make as much of an effort to change that shot.
Big possession here for Tennessee. Even bigger for Mississippi State on the defensive end. Down by 7. Yarbrough with 12 on the shot. Boy, some talking there with Golder.
Nice defense by Golder there to contain the penetration. We got a double foul. Jackson and Black.
Boy, Yarbrough and Golder really talking, and the official steps in to have a word there, but a double foul called on the near side.
Here you take a look at it right in there.
Ooh.
That's about 530 LBs getting to know each other down low.
So
Jackson, we talked about him needing to stay foul-free, and he's done that for the most part. That's an offensive foul on Yarbrough. Things starting to get a little chippy out here, Craig.
Kilpatrick. Jackson, Robert Jackson does have 4.
That is his 4th. Okay.
That was his 4th. Shot from the corner, too strong. Battle for the boards. Jackson right there. They're going to jump it with Yarbrough. And the offense, the
possession
arrow, thank you, going to Tennessee. Well, look at that, 23 with the 4 fouls.
Well, they can ill afford to lose him. I mean, he's been dominant down low. So he's got to recognize, like we thought he had 3. I wonder if the coaching staff knows that he has 4.
Harris slices down the paint, in and out. Miles up high for the rebound. Mississippi State pushing with 5 minutes left.
Boy, nice job to cut off the dribble lane.
Tough defense by Tennessee.
Yeah, you're right, Craig. We haven't talked about that enough. Mississippi State has been good, but so has Tennessee defensively, and the zone defense has really bothered Mississippi State the few times that Tennessee has employed it.
Patterson, whistle. You know, Clark, anytime, though, that you can defensively do series, catch it all. New City of Angels, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central here on CBS. 9 points for Patterson. 5-point game, 4:30 to go.
Well, nice job fronting by Hamilton, fronting Slay. He wants to steal him.
Look at this. Jackson steals it. Black. Both officials look at one another. Crowd wants it Mississippi State basketball. And it was last touched by Tennessee. Wow.
How about Jackson with 4 fouls here, anticipating the pass and trying to get down court. C.J. Black, clearly the guy who hit it last. Boy, if Jackson could have got that ball to his left hand, Craig, he could have kept it away from C.J. Black by putting his body between the ball and the defender, but his operating territory is in the paint.
Tang Hamilton put it on the floor and just rocked it in. Boy, big bucket. Hamilton with 9. Back the other way. As you've said many times, Tennessee having an answer.
Every trip. Tony Harris taking over. And when you've got his quickness and his long-range shooting ability, you can create major problems for the defense when you're in transition on the bounce.
Patterson wants 3.
Zimmerman inside.
Kicks it back out to Miles. Fresh shot clock. Lob to Jackson.
Big fella. Don't hurt him like that, big fella.
25 for Robert Jackson on the floor with 4 fouls. 72-69. Yarbrough. Fall away. Short. Slay. Rebound, but a whistle. A little early to celebrate Ron Slay. Second. Slay makes the first.
He's their best free thrower, 79% on the year. And that's why he's valuable as a guy coming off the bench. He can play a couple of positions on your front line. He can defend a couple of positions. And he's a guy that gets to the offensive glass. And if he gets to the line, he's going to make 8 out of 10 free throws.
And only a freshman. 13 for Ron Slay. We'll take a break. 3:17 to play in Starkville. Down by 5 to 6th-ranked Tennessee. 74-69. And Clark, you look at the stat of the day. Tennessee in the last 2 games have been out-rebounded. Let's look at the 3rd straight. It's close, but Mississippi State on the boards, 31-30.
And they knew they would have to rebound well. Tennessee has done a good job getting points off their offensive rebound. And if they haven't scored a field goal, they've gotten themselves to the line.
That's our CBS Sportsline stat of the game, and for complete game stats, go to cbs.sportsline.com.
Now, as we look at the last 3 minutes, the pace of the game has slowed down a little bit, so the depth of Tennessee, while I thought maybe 3 minutes ago might be a huge factor, may not be as much of a factor now. It's all about execution and being able to knock down the good shots that you get.
Hamilton had the look, rolls out. Patterson rebounds in traffic, fights. And last touched by Tennessee. Harris, CBS. Under 3 minutes to go. 3 short. Hamilton. Off the back of the iron. Boy, they can't get a shot to fall. They had 3 good looks. Harris floats it in.
He's not missing his good looks, though. And sometimes that's all there is in terms of what's the difference between winning and losing. One team gets good shots they miss. Another team late gets good shots they make.
Tennessee's lead now 7. As Harris has put on a 19-point performance. Inside to Jackson. And again, last touch by Robert Jackson. Miles spinning up high off the glass and a whistle. Miles holding that wrist that he has a hairline fracture he suffered just after Christmas against Montana State. He's had it wrapped.
There you see good position there by Ron Slay. And there you see Todd Miles. That's why we have the 1-and-1. That had been player controlled, no shots. And the difference is kind of a hairline difference, but if the ball's deemed released and then the foul occurs after, then that's what leads to the charging call. That was really close. And Tennessee, as they've done all game long, Craig, when Mississippi State is about to really threaten and change the tone of the game, they come up with a big play. And primarily this second half, Harris has 13 of his 19 this half, and Ron Slay has come up with big free throws in addition to a couple of big baskets here in the second half.
The lead is 9. Patterson kicks for a 3. And bang.
And really all game long have done a nice job with the three-point shot as Mississippi State. But Tennessee has had too many weapons.
Slade brings it down.
And he's been one of the main ones.
Boy, he hit the free throws. Now he brings it down after they broke the press by Mississippi State. 17 for the freshman. Boy, he doesn't play like an 18-year-old.
Well, I tell you what, sometimes it just comes down to one team simply being more talented and better than the other. And for all the effort that Mississippi State has given and shown, Tennessee has really operated on all cylinders with their talented deep team.
And Tang Hamilton's shot just has not been there. As you look at Slay coming down, soft touch, little scoop up and in, and 17 for Ron Slay.
And that's off the bench. And they lost Isaiah Victor to fouls at about the 6:50 mark. And Slay has put together some good play since that time.
Goler goes out. Todd Miles, who had to take a seat with that wrist problem, back in as Harris toes the line.
How about Tony Harris in the second half? That's 14 of his 20 here in the second stanza. And he has not forced one shot that I can recall. He has played under such great control. And when he plays that way, with that kind of efficiency, watch out opposition.
You know, Clark, it's one of those games that nothing really fancy, just steady and quiet. A quiet, hate to say a quiet 21, but Harris is just.
Hey, efficiency often is quiet, but it's productive and important. And that's what he's shown today.
Tennessee's lead is 10. Hamilton working into paint. Little hop and a skip and gets his 11th point, all here in the second half. Harris doing his thing at the free throw line. And Clark, you look at what Tennessee has remaining. They're back home against Georgia and 12th ranked Florida.
Then you look at after the Florida game, and I know coaches don't look ahead, but then you got Vandy and Kentucky in there. That's a pretty significant stretch of 3 games and will have a tremendous impact on what happens in that East Division, with Kentucky only having 1 loss as we speak.
Hamilton shoots the 3. Jackson on the offensive rebound in traffic, dropped it, and a foul.
And you've got Florida, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. And then you go take Kentucky for the top spot in the Eastern Division. Auburn in pretty good control of the other side of the SEC.
When you've gone back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances in a couple of 21 seasons, the expectations continue to climb, and there is plenty with this Tennessee team.
There certainly are, and the Sweet 16 or beyond is what most fans and quite honestly what most of the media thinks this team has the potential to do, and they've done nothing today to dispel that. They've fought off a valiant effort here by Mississippi State, and it's always difficult to go on the road in your conference and win, but they found answers with their leading scorer not having his strongest game, Vincent Yarbrough. But their depth, their quickness, the versatility, I mean, they've got everything you want to have a chance to be able to win 6 straight in March.
One more for Harris. Lead is 10, under a minute to go. Tennessee will move to 7-1 on the road. Their only loss just Tuesday night in Lexington against Kentucky. Tennessee basketball. Slay has it across midcourt. Little look, and they got him for a walk-in.
LSU's game with 9 games left.
Change left here in Starkville. Tennessee up and down against Mississippi State all day, but Clark, bottom line, you go to your bench and everyone responds.
They got contributions from everybody that stepped on the floor for the Orange, and timely contributions too when Mississippi State was trying to make a run here in the second half. Tony Harris has been splendid, as has Ron Slay. Yarbrough had his spots with a couple of threes. Victor was the catalyst early on.
More free throws now for Harris. And Tennessee came in, Clark, from the free throw line 65% as a team.
Look at what they've done today. That's 7 out of 8. That's 86% that they've made today.
Harris continues the streak.
They've shown today inside and outside balance. Oh, they're hard to handle.
And a big hand for Jackson as he
Only
goes
a
out.
sophomore.
Harris with another. Boy, deadly from the free throw line. Final seconds ticking down as Miles brings it up behind the back. Spinning. Shot up, short. Tries to push it back in, but C.J. Black rebounds for Tennessee. Slay. And Clark, that last bucket by Patterson was now been turned back to a 2-pointer, not a 3. 88-78. Miles, good look, hits it. That's a 3, 88-81. And that will do it. Mississippi State and Tennessee, a good battle, but the Volunteers won it down here in the second half as Rick Stansbury and Jerry Green shake hands at midcourt. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Ron Slay for Tennessee, 17 points, and for Mississippi State, 27 for the big man, Robert Jackson. Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. For Clark Kellogg, Craig Bullerjack saying so long from Starkville, where the final score is Tennessee over Mississippi State 88-81. Coming up next is third round coverage of the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the men's NCAA basketball championship.